Le voyement, mais quand on va pas moi là. Alice, les blancs, merci beaucoup. Encore la magie. Et puis, il y a des témoins. Aïe, puis, il y a des témoins. C'est un j'ai été bien de ça, mais on est plein de côté. Et pas pour faire de plaies pour des bons à Salo. Et dans le qu'il y a bon yawa, tu prends pour des pays de Manuo. Oui, oui, oui. Nyobe money kayo. Vous savez, mon papa connaît beau firme. Merci beaucoup. Et bien, voyez, elle a des personnes c'est beau. Le très ancien Yves Canet, à Seigneur Okaï. Le grand frère Oula Michael. Allons seulement. Les voyez, mais. Et la somme, non, les voyez, mais. Classez maintenant, les voyez, mais. Loisa ma guata bewe me pano che manuata bewe me la wodi manuata bewe me Diete Florent way de son te epe ya ja pe pasan de we ready o ne chichia mo je we omo nya da bi e ja pro o je pro mo pe de o teyan jon ple de so for ready so for me sia e jo ri papa Mon Dieu, oui, que oui. Vraiment, il faut apprendre pour ça. Oui, yeah, oui. You de nous plaît, so yeah. Car sans rien qu'à voir, oui. On y est, ça va, tout est oui. Pourquoi ça y est, tout est oui. Du moins, qu'il y a un serpent de oui. Des fois, des oui, des fois, des oui. Oui, yo. Mon grand frère, Clé Armel. Depuis très longtemps. Pour le pays où elle est pour un même année. Je peux se voir une masse à prier à Yité. Pour le pays où elle est pour un même année. Je peux se voir une diagne pour un même année. Pour le pays où elle est pour un bon matin. Je peux se voir une diagne pour un moins. Pour le pays où elle est mon didier. Mon année, j'ai une caille à nos copons. Oh, ni a diagne m'a dit, oh, ma diagne, on va y aller ton idée. Calvé, ya wazo là. Moi giti yeye, ta ya de to ire. A o se de français.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Liberia Public Radio. I'm Afonso Zian. So, right here, the panelists will be here this evening as usual. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Alison Mami, good evening to our own Achimo Frederick. Good evening, good afternoon. How you doing? Paul Johnson, welcome. Gabby Bow, Jeremy Robert, Tel Lion Tel. These are our prime time follower listeners. Listen to the song. If you don't have money, don't get involved in elections. Ali Ukrama, welcome to the show. Just do us a favor, just hit the share button and invite someone at your company. Tell them LPR is live right here with the panelists. This Monday's edition. Welcome to the show. And here come a march in from the nation's capital of the Republic of Liberia, the Honorable Sir Joseph. Good evening, Honorable Senator, and welcome to the show.
Bayan Claudio, Popion de Contayo, Jepoma. Tayas Racia Sama, Posia, Yoda, Sia, Mabongwe, Ecolade. Mabanya, you Babuda, the president of Zimbabwe, and I'm Colonel Penasa Marie. Yaokai, Yaodia, Mabongwe, Ecolade. Why was it for Masana Maflua, Sebab of the Noble Munia Wanda? You're not the way, man, I'm a German man. My German man, won't matter your boy. Why just your assembly? When you love it, you say, Mamborupia, you're not on your Nana, man, want that. You say, I'm a way man, you're not the way man. The way man, the way man. You know, so man, not the way man. What's the matter? The way man.
Oh, Lord. Obviously, election, I want to be senator, I want to be president, I want to be representative. Do you have the money to execute effective elections? Christopher Wulati Tobasi, good evening, welcome. Anita Takanen, good evening. Going to all of you great people of the Liberia Public Radio. We speak it. Welcome to the show. All right, let's get the news this time. All right, let's stop here. Good evening, good evening. So I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Thank you for sharing your evening, Monday evening, the first days of the week. Caller Johnson, thank you so much. Guys, do us a favor, let it unfolding, hit the share button, and invite someone to your company, because the panelists will be here. He's back. Who was back? Let's wait and find out who is he and what he has in store for us. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. New development emergent, the trade of Ambassador Joseph Newman boycott in Ghana. What is going on? And this is why some of us kept saying these people, they need special counsel, they need advisors and all of that. But they are not listening. And let's see what's happening here this evening. We're going to be having all of these conversations right here to all of our viewers, listeners. There's Clement, Kedia, thank you so much. Welcome. What legendary Sister Goyo is here this evening. And trust me, the panelists are going to be here. What we talk here, we talk Liberia, we talk sense, we keep it proportional, fair, balanced, and objective. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. And this is LPR-TV Live with the analysts that will be here. So let's take the quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Fiber Queen of Woodland. Everyone that's looking for nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need ashebi, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She have really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then Nicole will be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and ashobi hand ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fiber Queen on 6695 off of Woodland. 6625 Woodland Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high-quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodland Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Still, the management of Fabri's Queens in Philadelphia is easy insult of the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all, Akwaba.
Good evening. Welcome. This is LPR-TV Live with the panelists. The panelists will be here tonight to discuss a wide range of issues in Liberia. The first official day, voter registrations is out. Some are filing complaint. The Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. What was the visit of the Vice President in Ghana? And why? Who put that into place? Let us understand on the Waterspoon case. Minute happening, lots happening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Mami Esther Tapimo, one of our primetime viewers, listener, follower. Thank you so much for being here. Tamalu Brooks, Mr. Frank Davis, Kiatape, Omoklapi. Good evening, good morning, welcome to the show. I'm Afonso Z, and so let's get the ball rolling. We want to welcome all our viewers and listeners across the globe. We say thank you so much for your commitment to this network. Without you, we can't just be here. And this is what, if we are so exhausted, we think about you, the love of your country. And so we are compelled, not that we are perfect, not that we are the masters of the microphone. All of us have our different shared responsibility in giving back to the country, which is very much key. You have your talent, you have your own area. Unless we can identify our own God-given potential area, we were able to do best. Or we can try to perfect the changes that's so much desperately required in our country. And so, without you, we can be here. We say thank you so much for your commitment to this network. You give us the spirit, the zeal to do what we are doing. I don't care how tired, exhausted we are. We think about you because you want to know what is going on in the country. It is important we in the media industry, whether in Liberia or outside of the country, we must be able to do the right thing. Not of politics, not of party biggerings, the resentment, the deception, the dishonesty. It's at all levels, not just only with the politicians, not just only with the first branch of the government, not only the executive, not only the judiciary, but we as a citizen do have a shared responsibility to make sure that we give the best out of our country. The panelists, they are here, and he's back. What do I expect? What do I anticipate this evening? I have no idea. In his own words, he's unpredictable. Some of his fans been yelling, where is he? What happens to him? Did Mr. So kick him out of LPR? No. He was on a leave. He went back to give to his country. In fact, he was bereaved, but at the same time, he used that. For every time he goes back home, that's a good thing. Every bad child get a good side of get a good side as well. And I must give that to him. But there's a big wide gap of political ideologies with us. Notwithstanding, that's the beauty of this network. We don't sanction voices. No voice should be left behind in the political process or discourse in our country. You can't say you don't want to talk to Liberty Partisans, you don't want to talk to the seditions, you don't want to talk to ANC people. No. That's why the civil alignment create what they call a conversation, be able to persuade, be able to make the argument of your case. But for the most part, all of these networks, I don't see that happening. They take special time, 2 hours of their precious time to demonize other people, other candidates,
instead of shaping the message of the person that they are supporting. And I wonder that these things is in concern with these leaders called political leaders. It is quite amazing to see what is happening. Well, let's get a program rolling. He's back. How do I introduce him here this evening? He's not a stranger to this network, but let me come home here this evening among my mother's children. I love myself the best. Let me bring in Jones Octavius Malice. It's a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, based home state, Ocean State of Rhode Island. And he's here. So, good evening, Octavio Malice Jones. Tonight, nothing is guaranteed in terms of how this conversation going to be shifted. A voice that has been out of this network for almost a little bit months on time. He's back. I have no idea how he going to what going to happen here this evening. It will speak for itself. But he get the mind to also draw the attention of his support of his base. He behaves like a Donald Trump, even though he's not a supporter of Trump. The liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio, the only liberal on this network. He's involved. He's unbalanced. Those are his own words. He's unstable. But yet we managed to have a conversation. Let me bring in the liberal progressive, Samson Waku Branto. You dress like Sarah Allen. Are you want to be the chief Allen of LPR now?
Good evening, Mr. Soul. Good evening, Mr. Jones. Samson too, of course.
Okay.
Malice, we're here. Good evening to all of you.
I want to thank all of you. A little bit housekeeping here, and Liberal will be here. All right.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Okay.
All right. The Liberal, good evening. Good to have you back here. We all miss you, your fans. I was convicted in your absence, accused of throwing you out of this network, which was not the case. I hope you will use your microphone this evening to tell your folks that you were, attending to family business and, doing what you love doing, went back to sea and give back to your country. So I hope you'll be gracious and to do that for your audience, just to vindicate means of the convictions that have been placed on me. Go ahead. Let's hear from you.
First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. So, for letting us on here again tonight. But most importantly, I want to thank God for taking us all the way to Backland, homeland, and brought us back here again. It was a wonderful sad trip, but it was a wonderful outcome. We went to bury our brother, and we did that. And then after that, we spent some time in Monrovia, where we want to continue to contribute as builders of the nation. We want to do our part, and I think we're doing our part to build the nation, not just to criticize, but we contribute heavily. And this time around, the contribution that I'm hoping to make will be something that perhaps will stand out. I think it's one of those, if we're successful, that Liberian will be proud of, not just of my handiwork, but something that the government and those that are in offices making policy that decided to do what we're trying to do here will be proud of themselves as well. But I'm not ready to let the cat out of the bag right now, because we're still in the process.
So then why are you talking? You want to explore this whole conversation.
Mr. So the liberal is back. Your hair in my mouth, my hair in your mouth. I'm not in Liberia again, Mr. So. I hear in America now. I'm in Liberia. I didn't say anything because I didn't want people to flock me. So, but right now, I'm back. The liberal is back. You don't want to start something here. Amos Joyce is not here with you. Even if you can bring in the other Ocean State bully of yours, there's nothing you guys can do to stop me as a liberal. You can't make it with me. You can bring in another Ocean State brother of years, and I'm not too sure what his political persuasion is, but we'll find out here very shortly. So please, when the liberal is on the floor, you let him land, because this right now, this is the hat of a district commissioner. You know that. And so when I wear this hat, I'm also here tonight as a district commissioner of Toll Town. So please respect this hat. It's the hat that people used to wear. You know that. But on a very serious note, Mr. So, we went home, and I want to thank you, Sissy, Mr. George, Jonathan, and the rest of the LPR crew. I think I've been watching, and I truly believe you guys continue to do put LPR on the map, and it's on the map. And I want to thank you for your leadership, and I want to thank the rest of the LPR brothers and sisters for the continuing contribution to our society, bringing to light what is happening in our country. And I want to thank you very much. But having said that, Mr. So, there's no Kumba here tonight. I'm back. And I'm not here to here for some sort of friendship stuff here. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to be truthful and say as it is. Thank you for the time.
Okay, welcome. Mr. Jones Otavia Malice. Good evening, so welcome.
Oh, thank you, moderator. And
okay,
welcome back, Honorable Toll.
Thank you. Thank you.
You saw the guy, you saw how he put a stereotype. You heard him saying your ocean state body. So it's like, that's how, be careful with him. I'm telling you right now, don't dignify him. That honorable name, don't be too quick and fast to release that to him. Trust me, before this show comes to an end, you're going to figure out something. You heard him saying, yeah, we don't know where he stayed, but he brought his ocean state body. That's who he is. Okay, the Liberal Progressive, good evening. Good to have you back here. We all miss you. Some of your folks will just say, oh, this is Afonso So doing, and the rest of the people say, it looked like Afonso So and say kick Liberal out. That wasn't the case. Welcome. Let's hear from you. I guess besides the family, and for our prayers and thought to the bereaved family, but as part of that, I believe you were also involved in other things here. Let's give you an opportunity to. You took a tour. I saw you doing some live streaming, taking a drive, other places. My guess, Roberts Field is highway there has been one of your passion to do. Ooh, it's gonna get more serious now. Here we go. Oh boy. Let's welcome our senior analyst from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Sissy Goya, who is a strong supporter of Councillor Tiawanse Gonglo. Mr. Goya, good evening. Welcome.
I appreciate it. The Liberal.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining the LPP. We heard about it, so welcome on board. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. I hope you're not mistaking me for the councillor himself this afternoon, but I'm not. So I
just take a compliment. I agree that your first day back.
You will not do it. Forget it. That one, that Donald Trump, you can't let anything.
Thank you, Minnesota politician. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
There you go. Okay, let's get a serious business here to all our viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for your time. We'll try to incite some sort of meditate, stabilize, put ourselves into the point of conversation. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. Please hit the share button if you can. If this is your first time on this network, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. You are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio. You can subscribe, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and LinkedIn, simultaneously broadcast, creating many avenues where you can get us and keeping news fair, balanced, and proportional. These gentlemen and a lady are also here. They are not here now. They also have a political side, and we keep it proportional, fair, and balanced. Liberal, let's hear from you. I know you did a tour around town here. What have you observed? Is there anything different when you were here and you went back there? you see it, that you wish to share with the public? Yeah.
Yes, yes. The first thing I want to say, and on a very serious note, I've always when I got back and I've coming from Tota after all of the burial ceremony and came back to Tota Monrovia, I observed a lot of stuff. But what I can say, and I truly believe, if that God lives in Liberia, God lives in Monrovia. I truly, truly believe that. Mr. So, specifically as an engineer, someone who have had a lot of experience in roadway design, and as a roadway designer, one of your first priorities when you're putting these things together, number one is safety. Number two, most important, is the driver comfort. The driver should be comfortable on your road, because to step on the brakes, to take your foot from the pedal to the brake, the split second, if you're confused, it make a difference. And so when you're doing these road design and what have you, when you see these curves and all those kinds of stuff, they're all done with the intent to have the driver to be comfortable. In Liberia, specifically Monrovia, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as being drive. I mean, when you're driving in the city of Monrovia, your heart is pretty much in your mouth, pretty much. And when you get home, you'll be sweating, believe me. When you get to your final destination, the first thing you know, those of us that believe in God, you will say, thank God. It's not so much of you being hurt, but the fact that you didn't have any kinds of mishap to hurt people. Mr. Soul, you have people with motorbike and keke that are passing by you on your right hand side. Forget about left hand taking over. That's something normal. But they pass by you, they go on your right hand side. And even if you're making a right turn, you have to make sure you're the driver. You have the right of way, but it doesn't matter. You have to make sure when you're making a right turn, 4 or 5 bikes keke will go by you before you even make that attempt. And if you try to say you want to be generous and say, okay, well, perhaps let's do some driver advocacy and what have you, forget it. If you don't do what they do, you want to be there and say, okay, let me get a guy a chance. If you get one person chance, you're going to have almost 10, 15 people, including the keke and the bike, including some taxi driver, will try to go before you get it. And worst of all, it's the way the passenger cars, the way they drop their passenger. They stay in the middle of the street and they drop the passenger. It is bad. The driving situation in Liberia is bad. But most thing that is very encouraging, it seems like our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are doing everything possible to prop out that country in terms of its economy. The young people of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora specifically are building. It's very encouraging. They're buildings and trying to get the city to be to somehow to say the city is a beautiful place. These people are building. And one other last thing I would say, I know we're going to be talking about this more and more, but one of the worst of all is the government official in terms of road usage, the utilization of the road itself. The government officials are not doing the country service at all. These people, when they go into work in the money, they take 3 lanes. When they're coming back, they take 3 lanes. And mind you now, this is the place when you're coming from EW Junction to just to the Nigerian embassy. It takes you almost like an hour and a half, just so that you'll be able to pass. If you want to pass by the ministerial complex, forget it. It's terrible. But these people, when they're driving, they speed 70, 80 miles an hour in the place that is so congested with pedestrians. And I got more to say. But Mr. So overall, it's our country. As we speak right now, if I'm given another opportunity, I will run back to Liberia. I will run back to Monrovia right now as we speak. But even though it was bad, but it's my country and I love it. I love the way the people do business over there. That's fine. That's fine. We'll get over it. But it's a very sweet country. And I encourage all of us, if you have the opportunity, try to go down there. It's your country. There's no need to be afraid. With all of these wrangling about death and stuff, those are all true. Uh, People, but most I didn't see any evidence of some of the things that I was reading on social media. I have no evidence to accuse anybody of anything, but all I can say is, you just try to do your best to stay safe. But the country is sweet. Liberia is sweet, and we'll get there.
So, guys, we're going to use maybe 10, 15 minutes, and out of us, we got a busted guy, Bubble. He was down there, he was like a tatlord. He was quiet. He come in now, he started off my he not saying anybody more. Somebody he not saying more. So we gotta get the best out of it. So what let's be honest, let's turn his camera off. You violate traffic rule, correct? Based on what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, Mr. Soul. That's one of the things that you will after your first week of driving, you'll be very nervous. But after that, the only way you're gonna move is to drive the way they do. The rules, driving rules, forget it. They're out of the window.
You a guy who smoked peace pipe. Did you try to talk to driver, talk to people, act like a cop, and
when they hit you, they say sorry. When you hit them, they curse you. So how you gonna smoke peace pipe with anybody like that? They hit you up, I'm sorry, then you gone. But as soon as you hit them, you gotta face this bike. They're my little kakaya. I try my best to make living for my. You come in here, there, you will. But when they hit you, they say sorry, papi. So how you gonna try to smoke peace pipe with
one of my entered a bike guy trainer is saying, "Oh my, I told you, sit down. Will you sit down? You know, for that instead of them helping out you, plus here you, Sissy, you are also dead. It's our country, and I like how we keep this sort of conversation. We are not here to add to subtract. Who must say why it is, who must be, honest, not politics. Because the more we talk about this thing, I believe we potentially can find remedy. If it is not even happening now, potentially it will happen because then people know that it's being discussed. What do you have a question for him?
Well, no, I just understand that the Liberal could not, be himself in Liberia because the beginning guys are gonna say in a few days from the LU Didiba. They say Sabu kiss me bad. somebody with Sabu kept kiss me bad on the head. So the Liberal in Liberia, you understand Sabu kiss me bad. You play it, you will understand. But it's nice having him back though on a serious note. I saw him going live a few times in Liberia, and nothing he said is is challengeable because I was in Liberia August also. I go back every year, by the way, to Liberia. And like the Liberal said, we have a lot of dysfunction in Liberia, but it's home, man. With all of the dysfunction, it still feels good to be back home. So welcome back, man. I'm so glad that you and your family came back without any incidents and you were all safe.
Thank you.
Jones, and questions or interactions you wish to engage with the Liberal?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Liberal for returning successfully. And as I can see from his body language, he's in top gear. And I'm sure he's been having quite an extensive panorama view of the city. But when it comes to the issue of security, I see where the Liberal is coming from, where we should continue to harness the spirit of patriotism. No matter how scary the situation might be, how ridiculous it might be, home is home. We should always find ourselves back home. I agree with the Liberal 100% on that. But what I disagree with is that we've been seeing some strange story on various platforms, even in the tablet, even in the newspaper. There's ceremonials, ritualistic killing, politically motivated killing that involving that of the auditors and other people. And it's like sometimes when we put all of these things in perspective, we tend to conclude hastily that Liberia is not safe. But Liberia will not be safe probably for the investor who may be seeing these things. But for us, we have no other choice. We have no other home to go to but Liberia. So despite the circumstances, we have to find a way and find some solution and still go back home. And lastly, to my disappointment, the Liberal did not dance around the issue of hardship that even generated this demonstration by the opposition under the title "We Are Tired Suffering." So it seems to be the Liberal were on the opposite of that, and probably he was consumed by some high level entertainment. He didn't realize that
He consumed some of the sound take.
yes. So probably as
How you're gonna welcome your brother?
as this convoy continue its journey, we may want to find out why or whether that sector is okay. Then probably the Liberal can give us the strategy what make it okay.
Well, thank you, my brother. No, entertainment section. I try to stay away from it. I did my EJ Raw business way back. I tired. That one that I want real called tired going out. So usually by 6, 7 o'clock, I'm in bed. But no, on a very serious note, one of the things that I try to stay out. I think before several years ago when I started going back home. Before that, I was one of those who used to be here on the platform trying to speculate and then jump on every little stuff. But here's what I do know and what I want to say here to our brothers and sisters. I'm not going to accuse people without any evidence, so to speak. Now, and also you can say the government. I would say the government will be at fault for not trying to get Liberians involved in these kinds of. For example, if any issue happen or something happen where you have the Liberian spokesperson, Liberian government spokesperson will try to explain to the people, but because of their silence of not saying anything, most of the media institution or social media personality trying to improvise because there's nobody saying anything, so they make it up and people try to believe those things very easily. Now, in Liberia, what I do know for sure is that, yeah, I cannot sit here and say the country is 100% safe. But as we speak right now, and please don't come here tonight and call me undercover sedition because it's not going to work. All I can say, as we speak here tonight, millions of Liberians will get up tomorrow morning. So I'm not going to say the place is safe. It depends on where you are. Any country here, Philadelphia, Rhode Island, Minnesota, Minneapolis, whatever big city you find yourself in, here in Sacramento, if you go to a certain section, and if God said this is your time, that's what happened. Now, I'm not saying those people that were killed or assumed to be the killing or what have you, that it is their time. That's not the point that I'm making. But the point here is this. That I, as a liberal, I think that it's very difficult for me to jump on this bandwagon of people being accused of doing some heinous crimes and what have you without any proof whatsoever. And that's something that I'm not willing to do. In terms of the LU situation, before I go making that comment, I was on my way to the bank on Tottenham Boulevard. I was there in a car with one former LU student who also used to be part of the student unification party, but he never really, because he's an engineer, so he said, usually I don't participate in that. And so as we were driving, we forgot that Representative Gray was supposed to be visiting. So I said, okay, let's go down Waterside. Let me get two bags for my kids, book bag for my kids, and then we get. He said, I'm not going that way. Representative Gray is going away. And as we were talking, people were running from City Hall coming this way. We have to turn right. I think it's on 10th Street or some other street. We have to turn right to try to make our way back to Congotown Boulevard and head back towards EW Junction. So things were not as smooth as people would make it to be. However, once again, that particular incident, I would say, and these are things, and I'm back, and I'll be doing it. These are things I consider unforced error on the part of the government. Why would Representative Gray want to have lunch with LU student when you know LU have already on a shaking ground, and you being a former student and former political student leader of at the university? Why would you want to go say you want to have the kids were not ready to welcome you, and every one of them knew exactly what was going to happen? Why was the president not able to talk to Representative Gray that this is not the time to go? We cannot do these kinds of stuff. But then once again, since Tutman time, the people continue to make mistake with LU. And if you mess with LU, your political career life is not as strong as it's supposed to be. So I'm not there in Liberia enjoying myself, blah blah blah. No, but I was paying keen attention. Lastly, one thing I want to say about the traffic issue. I got stuck in the traffic one night about 2 Saturdays ago. I started my journey on EW Junction at 4:30 in the afternoon. I didn't get to my destination. I wasn't going to the airport either. I was just going to rehab. I didn't get to rehab until 1 a.m. It was bad. At the end of that, and I made a video of it, at the end of that, you have security apparatus with AK-47 directing traffic. I was amazed. Now, when I call a few friends, or some of them in the government, they say, oh, maybe the president was traveling at that time. 1 o'clock in the night? Okay, that's fine. He's a Liberian. He's allowed to do that. Then, 2 days later, right where I live on EW Junction, or EW Road, Ralphie Highway, there was a car accident, a truck and an SUV. And once again, I saw AK-47 with the police directing traffic. I thought that was very, very interesting. I don't know why. I think I called Mr. So to get Mr. Mose Carter's number and try to find out what the deal is. I never got around that. But I thought that I want to bring that to the attention of the panel as well.
Okay. What interesting. Your area of expertise. Any big difference to Roberts International Airport road construction? While you were on this network, you were talking, pointing out some of the false errors, making some recommendations. As usual, what we do here when we critique, we also put forward solution. Perhaps they have the right to listen and not to listen. But there was a little time, our last trip there, and you just went back. Any difference?
No. In fact, it has gotten worse. And again, I'm not going to blame the president. As I stated in one of my videos that I will be playing sometime, the president did his part to convince the international community to see reason to invest through the government and building roads. But those who are responsible, the Minister of Public Works, the folks at the ministry, the engineers at the ministry, are not forceful enough to tell these foreigners that are building Ralphie Highway, they are setting rules in terms of road construction, and these rules are not being followed. On the road itself, the drivable road right now is about 26 feet the most. They have digging one side, they dug one side of the road, left side and right side, and the pit itself, I call it pit of hell, about almost 4-5 feet deep, all along from rehab all the way to EW Junction. Now, you would think that these people would be sensible enough to know the traffic before you do these kinds of construction or even a design. You do traffic study, and the traffic study will tell you what is the volume of traffic on that particular facility that you're trying to fix or trying to design. I'm sure they did all that. But Mr. So, they dug both sides of the road. So as a result, people that are supposed to be on the shoulder trying to stop car or trying to find passenger car. They're in the middle, almost in the middle of the street. So the road is so congested. It's unbelievable. And they use bamboo, bamboo reeds. That's what they use as a guide on both sides. They cut the bamboo reed and put it in the concrete blocks, and they put it up. And they paint that. Those were painted, of course. But they paint at night, you can't see them. No light. At night, you have no light. You're on your own. And that's what I said from the beginning, that God lives in our country. So in terms of construction, the method, I don't see it. However, I believe that at the end, once that road is done, it will be beautiful. I believe that. Because the width of it alone will give space. And what they're trying to do, lastly, before I left, it just happened that the day before, I saw what they're trying to do. They dug both sides of the road, bring it back up, fill it in, and then try to do the middle, which is the asphalt road now. But even if you're going to do that, when you finish digging one side, fill it in, put traffic on it, then you don't even have to use machine to roll it, because the traffic alone will compact that area that you're leaving. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. And some of the area that you will find out that it's lower than the original road. And what happened to the drainage? It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. But I will go deep into that. But as far as Ralphie Highway is concerned, it's a mess. They're doing their best, but it's a mess. It's a mess.
And the reason we are having this conversation, Sissy, Male, you can jump in anytime, tell me to shut up, and I'll make way. We are in here. And the reason we're asking this because we sit here, we talk, and so when one of us and anybody leaves and go, we need to also get a pick what we are saying here. Is that what is happening, or there's something on the contrary? So, Mr. Toll, let me ask you that, because you were here prior to going, so you've been calling the authority at the Ministry of Public Works to also give hand. You were there. Did you make an attempt? Anybody try to reach out?
No, this time around when I got there, I purposely decided to stay away from Ministry of Public Works. I really don't want to be bothered with them.
Why?
Because they are not sincere, and they are intellectually dishonest, to be honest with you, Mr. So. And why am I saying these things? These are friends. These are people that I respect. These are highly educated people. But for them, with that kinds of knowledge, engineering knowledge, to allow these foreigners to do these kinds of roles, it's unacceptable. I'll give you an example. Here in the United States, and what I'm about to say is in an engineering book. Even the engineering book in total is there. And one of the things they will tell you when you try to do work for them, they will tell you, say, well, we want all the design procedure to follow AASHTO, which is the gospel of design business in any part of the world. We want to follow AASHTO. But when it comes to them, when they're doing their work, they don't want to follow AASHTO. AASHTO says this: if you have a role and you have a lane switching, say, for example, you're blocking this way, you're working from here there, but you want the traffic to switch. They have a formula that you have to follow, which is lane times the weight, okay? Lane, the width of the lane itself times the length of the road. If you're doing a 2-lane traffic switch, then you divide that by 2. Okay, and when you do that, that gives you a lot. That's the taper, shifting taper. It gives you a long shifting taper. And the reason they do that is, once again, driver as the client of a designer, and you want them to be happy. So when you give them a long lane, they have room to make decisions as they're driving. But now with these people, their taper lane is, I measure it at 25 feet. Who gonna be in that right man? You go like that. How are you gonna deal with that? It's unacceptable.
So let me, I like to listen to the Liberal. I think, especially when you talk about construction, he's an expert in that, and I like to just lean back and listen to him talk about the math and everything in there. But I want to push back on a little bit on the liberal. I think we've welcomed him now. I think he already welcomed him.
I'm ready, Minister politician, bring it on.
First of all, let me, we brought out the issue of a carrot's grain. I think where I made a mistake last time. We need to give credit to where credit is due. I hope the Honorable Senator, my uncle, Sir Joseph, is still watching tonight. When we were given solutions that night, we talked about calling the heads of the institution of the University of Liberia to the Capitol, and I like that Sir Joseph called out the two representatives that fanned the flame of the fires at the University of Liberia. And he talked about LU being in his county that he represents. And he talked about what peace looked like in the way forward. And so we all don't have to be citizens to see when somebody has done well. So I want to put that out there. My uncle sometimes can come at you, but this one you did well in it. Now, on the liberal piece, the liberal, on the other hand, is saying that we can't blame George Weah for the mess that's happening on the roads and everything. We should blame the Ministry of Public Works, the engineers. Elections are coming. None of the engineers are on the ballot. The Liberian people do not elect the Minister of Public Works. They elect the president, trusting that the president will make decisions, put people in place, and he will hold them accountable. The president drove on that road, assuming to leave the country recently to come to the United States. He's seeing all those things on that road. It's not like they're flying him, in a space saucer from the executive mansion straight in the air, and he doesn't see that. He sees that road. How do you hold a minister of public works accountable, but not hold his boss to whom he's accountable? When people are praising George, we are calling him bad road medicine. So when the road work good, that he credit. But when the road not work good, we get to somebody else. So he the bad road medicine. He got to be the bad road disease. If the medicine not working, he got to be the disease. So I don't know how the liberal try to
well, very simple, Minnesota politician, very simple as far as I'm concerned. And you know where I stand with this thing here. I've been saying, not just because I was home recently, I've been saying this thing here. Those of all that, I don't know President Weah as the way I do with you and with any of our brothers and sisters. I know of him. And what I know of him is that he is not the type of person that like to hurt people's feelings. And this is what happened with this reshuffle. He been in office now going to 6 years. And not once has he done any kind of reshuffle in terms of moving people around. So he's not the type of person that will say, okay, let's come here. Why is this thing not like? He's not like that. I just believe that he's not like that. But I'm not trying to excuse him. Say, you're an engineer. You know very well. I'm not trying to excuse him. The buck stopped with him. I agree with you. But here's the problem. President, and I'm not here to support him or what have you. And that's not what I'm about. But I want to be truthful. President Weah brought these people on as a supporting staff. And if you accept to do these kinds of work, and my sister Ruth Collins, she's a very smart lady. I've talked to her. I know her. She's a good engineer. Why is it that she and her people will sit there? And I have some friends at public work, very smart people. I know these people. I know their capabilities. But they sit there and allow people like Edwin Snow and my senator from Grand Gila County, Ormo Zopeno, to manipulate the system, to go to public work and tell public work what they need to do. I'll give you an example. Just before, if you go on Front Page Africa, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the minister made a statement that road will be done, Ralphie Highway will be done before the beginning of the rainy season. Now, who in their right mind will make that kind of statement? I come to find out later that she made a statement saying, because she's been left out at the Ministry of Public Works for that statement, and she came back to tell them it's a political sitting. Senator Snow and Senator Zopeno say, I should say so. according to what I'm hearing. Now, why would you do that? That's what I'm saying. These are people. Then, if you as an educated person, master degree in civil engineering, you know your job, you know this thing, and you're gonna let these people that have no clue in engineering push you around. And you want me to sit here and say I blame the president? No, these are the people that are hold responsible.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I was a little bit confused.
Yes.
Mr. Malley, go ahead.
I think the liberal, he's not living up to expectation when it comes to the relevancy of his title as a liberal.
Shot flyer.
And I say that for two reasons. One, we have the political leader in Liberia who is the president. I don't know whether the liberal has ever asked himself whether the president is having what I call a political and technocrat supervisory move on his ministers. I don't know whether the liberal want to ask himself that question. And secondly, whatsoever go on in Liberia, the buck starts with the president. So if the liberal is telling me on this platform that he preferred what I call the segment criticism than the general criticism, then I'm taken aback, because everything that goes wrong in Liberia starts with the president. So my question now is he not having an oversight on his ministers when things are going wrong? Where is the professional transparency and accountability for the Ministry of Public Work? You name a whole lot of impediments associated with this road project, and thank God you have come from that background, and you even praising one of the ministers in there. So the buck starts with the president. And I think if we are analyzing and we can't find our way out, the president will have to take responsibility for these things. But I see the liberal having what I call a detour around these things. We have to call it as it is. If the fact, you have just named a lot of facts about this rule. So the question now is, where is the president? Where is the vice president? Why are they not holding people accountable for the professional lapses? I yield.
Well, I should answer your question. The president on a trip abroad, that's what you're asking about.
Look,
Okay.
look, gentlemen, let us, this is what I think we need to stay out of. Trying to inject what is happening here in the United States and trying to say this is what we think should be happening in Liberia right now. With all your bobo, let me let you know that your BB boy, you're coming speak here tonight, that ain't flying with me. I here to tell you why I say that I'm not blaming the president. The president getting people to come and work for him. He asked you question. He brought you. He come. He said you want a job. He said yeah. Can you do it? Yeah. What? Let me see your resume of the call CV. They got all the things that the people put down. Then the president said, I trust you to do this thing. And the person not doing it the way they're supposed to. Then you want me to sit down and say, why the president not do that? I can't do that one. That one I ain't able. Good English, yeah, I ain't able that one.
Let me ask you a question. Let me agree for a second, albeit it's going to hurt my feelings to do that, but let me agree that we don't inject what happened in America and Liberia. Do you want me to go with your statement that the president is somebody who don't like to hurt other people's feelings? So the president hired people who not doing the work. They are putting, by your own account, I was in Liberia in August, putting people's lives at risk, putting his life at risk, traveling that road. He so much is concerned about their feelings than his own health, than his own life. The president is concerned about the feelings of the Minister of Public Work than the health and life and safety of millions of Liberians. That's how you want me to look at this president?
No. This is how I say, and I'm glad I'm talking to you. I'm glad that I'm talking to you because you are also you're somebody who is also grounded into the culture of our society. He didn't come to America at age 20, age 15 or something like that. So
Our
you
grandpa
know
like
what I'm
him.
talking about. You as someone, every one of us grew up in our culture. Now,
Mr. So,
no. You see, this is what y'all do. This is what y'all do to the liberal. Then when I tell you, say, I'm here to make friends, then you look at me differently.
Theories back.
So, but let me just say this here. In our culture, and I agree, we come here, we learn the so-called book and what have you, and it's good to take that kinds of knowledge back home because you want to improve the situation in Liberia for our brothers and sisters to improve their lives. But here's what I'm going to say. President Weah, I believe, I don't know him, and I criticize him a lot. But anybody that you talk to that have some sort of encounter with him, he's not the type of person. Now, certain area he is, but I'm not going to name no area. But he's not the type of person that will intentionally try to hurt people. I mean, I believe that. Now, in these kinds of situations, you bring somebody at a higher position, and then because of the person inept, well, inept is too strong for my brothers and sisters because I know they're working, but because they are unable to perform adequately, that the president will say, you know what, you're dismissed. He has not done that in the last 5 years, some more months. Now, let's try to give him some little latitude here to say perhaps he's seen it, and maybe he's having conversation with these people to say we got to do better. So I'm gonna give him a little latitude, and you guys can fault me on this, but I'm a liberal.
5.5 years of latitude. But so let's do it this way. I will agree with you and then we move forward. What I want to agree with you with is if I will agree with you that we can't hold the president accountable for I'm going to use the word you didn't want to use, the ineptitude of the engineers, then we cannot give the president credit for whenever they excel and do the work. So the president can't be called viral medicine when the engineers are the one doing the work, then I ain't doing it. But when they falter, then we want to call the engineers the bad people and not calling the viral disease. If you want to be viral medicine, you also got to be the viral disease if it doesn't work out.
Okay. I am Afonso Z. So, guys, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. We're going to pivot. The former vice president visit to Ghana. Why? And what was the risks? What were some of the risks involved? We will talk about that. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm a customer of Uncle Musa. I came here to get some things from grocery. Their things are so nice. They never get
Good evening, folks. Good morning to wherever you are under the sound of our voice. This is the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio. I'm Afonso Z and so Chief Facilitator. Angle right here is 9:06 Eastern Standard Time right here in the East Coast of the United States of America. We say thank you for sharing your evening, your mornings or afternoon with us, depending on your location. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, let's pivot here a little bit. We now know we are hearing a little more information of the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia. And fair to say, I have not seen the official statement, but this speaks to the volumes of some of us call here that these people, these politicians, no matter who you are, there's a need that you have an advisor, you have people to trust. But they don't, what are they listening to then, or what are they trust then? We are now hearing some insiders orchestrated a meeting that led the vice president, the former vice president, to fly into Ghana. Good thing he walks away. Well, it reminds me of Sally Thompson, former Sally Thompson, former aide to the late president, speaking with people, and no other aide to the president knew exactly the details of that conversation. And the president departed the executive 45, used to be called by reporters 45 executive mansions. His convoy drove down Busekwara Ken Johnson Road, subsequently across the bridge, and he met his demise. Guys, what is going on? Why in the war? Our leaders, and this also speaks to the point the Liberal was saying. I began to question the judgments of people we call our leaders, unable to have people that they can confide in or to build an intelligent corridor around themselves, especially when they are in high-profile positions. What we've been talking, for God forbid, we hear say the vice president XYZ happened to the vice president. Whose fault? Why will he? And this comes to the point. You have these presidential candidates. We don't know their security advisors. We don't know their economic advisors. We don't know some of them, their policy advisors. They're there, but instead of propagating policies of these people that they are supporting, it's not that they are trained red meat. And I'm coming to the point here, and I'm going to start off with Sissy on a two front, that his uncle. Let's see here what a nephew will eat the care here. But on a serious note, I think the vice president exposed and endangered himself and show some sort of lack of leadership here. Why will you go somewhere without people knowing? Who knows whether it was a sort of conspiracy or sort of trap set by even the FBI or some kind of Mexican cartel? You're going into a conversation, going somewhere. Come on. This is where the structures of our political institution is lacking. You do not have to go there. Even if you were invited somewhere, and we now know Tella Urit, they were all she flew from Nigeria and went there as well. So let's assume they were business people. Who were these sort of business? What was the surveillance done? But we are hearing from other sister networkers, other folks from Ghana, after the vice president, all this was orchestrated for Karen Costa to be the vice president, to be the running mate to the vice president. And there was some major deal or proposal. When in fact, I say, well, reported by other, that was not no, I cannot tell you it was no Russian. It was something orchestrated right from in Ghana there. But the good thing here, the wiseness of Ambassador Boyka saying, I want to talk to you guys, and he left. But the question is, some damage could have been done. Not knowing, not establishing the full identity surrounding this conversation for he, without even sending some of his, maybe his security personnel. This speaks to the volume. Now I'm getting nervous. They need to start building, in as much they are not president, they need to start building the structure around them and not just go into conversation, go into negotiation when you are invited, regardless of billions of dollars being offered. Sissy, I think the vice president literally endangered himself. Let me just bring you in.
Well, I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of verifiable information out there. But let's assume for the benefit of having a conversation, the vice president is running a campaign. The former vice president running a campaign. Like my guy is running a campaign. Going over to meet with investors or whatever the situation is, I don't see that as something that would have required. I don't know. Yes, you do some background check to make sure the people you're meeting with are not, criminals. But I don't want to sit there and believe that the vice president did not do that due diligence to find out who he's going to meet with, whether they are not criminals or not. And sometimes I want to be careful with, when this information come out on these other networks that haven't been verified. Again, we just got shot in our legs recently by Jerome Verdier spewing the same kind of trash on another network. So I want to be very careful with that. But, a presidential candidate traveling overseas to have conversation with business people or other things, I really don't see that as a risk. And sometimes you take political calculated decisions that don't have to be in the public eye. They don't have to tell the public everywhere they're going. Again, there is a difference between a political candidate and the president of the nation. God forbid, Ambassador Boakai, maybe, God forbid, gets kidnapped. It doesn't cause as much favor as the president getting kidnapped, God forbid. So I don't think we apply the same level to them. I think, yes, should he have done due diligence? Absolutely. Should anybody leaving Liberia to fly somewhere do due diligence on the people you're going to meet with? 100%. But I don't have the information to sit here and say he didn't do the necessary due diligence. And again, there are people, I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet. None of them has been verified. So I really find it difficult to speak to them.
Okay, we have done some other inside conversation inside, and this is why we are very careful. We do not usually, I don't borrow these sort of red meat here, because first and foremost, where other people were saying they were Russians, we now know they are not Russian. But let me bring in Mali Jones here. Sisi is walking a fine line, which of course, that's good. But he is a Kennedy. He is expiring. He is a presidential hopeful. And my guess here, he must be able to establish some good surroundings in as much he wants investors if he's elected president of the Republic of Liberia. But to just rush into something, rush in that, if he knew or if there was some intel, knowing what he was going for, first and foremost, he wouldn't have gone there. Or maybe there was some sort of advanced thing to know, to establish the true meaning of that sort of meeting. Probably he would have had a second thought, or probably send a surrogate. But there are two things I think factoring in here. People don't trust people. Everybody want to get for themselves. So SOS, security on security, that's exactly what it is. But let me just bring you here. If you were a presidential host for a year and they ask you to go to Sierra Leone, you would just get and go without you knowing who you're going to meet with, the substance of the conversations. Don't you think it makes sense, wise enough to know exactly before you go? Probably you are walking into the lion's den.
Yes, I will agree with you, Mr. Moderator. But here is the issue. The vice president, from my own understanding, he's standing right now, I consider him to be a private citizen. Currently, the vice president is not a political material of this government. He's like you and myself, a private citizen, having their own private prerogative to decide their destiny and achieve what they want to achieve. But I also agree with you on the other hand, there's so much going on in the world today. But then we'll ask ourselves, why is it that these standard bearer, when they live in Liberia, I can remember when the vice president was leaving Liberia for the United States, the press picked up that issue. But the executive mansion did not make proclamation on that issue. So the press, being a watchdog, has the responsibility to always set this agenda for us to discuss. Why is it that the executive mansion did not make an official proclamation of the vice president traveling to the United States when he left the EAWA hospital? Because he is not an official employee of this government, but he is a senior citizen of Liberia. So he has what I call his private political prerogative to decide as a grown man over 70, to decide his own destiny, to know who he wants to talk to in a part of the world. We may be concerned about his political details. We don't have the facts. And it's possible for the press secretary to the vice president to even let you know that it is the vice president's prerogative, and it doesn't have to be announced on radio station that he's going. He does what he does best. I yield.
Let me reconstruct the questions and come to an open guide, Libra, who is involved. Libra, let me reconstruct these questions, looking at the polarizations of our political process in Liberia, the conspiracy, the innuendos, the subliminal messages that always factor into our political discourse. Yeah, we have a strong contender, no question about that, a former vice president, going to next door, Ghana. Well, okay, he's not official, but we also know that he's a statement. God forbid, if anything tomorrow, he will go to the capital return as the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia. If Mexican cartel were to kidnap, I always open up to this sort of conversation on whatever thing that will have happened. What will we be saying today, considering the polarizations of our politics? What will we be saying today? And why these politicians, why do they, I would say, they do not have structure around them? They don't equally speak as well. This is been in the news media now how many hours now? Do they not have they do not have a press secretary to these people? The party do not have a structure. Why they can't come out and make a statement?
Mr. So, thank you very much for your concern, but it's none of your business. You can't.
I forgot I just said boycott man.
Of course, it's none of your business. We will let you know if we want you to know, Mr. So. Let's find another topic now. If you're talking about the structure of these political parties, that's a different thing. But every time the puppy ready to leave, one can't call LPR and say, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm going to play. I'm going to play." To tell you,
I'm saying.
No, we're not going to do that. And he's the president. I say, the president to be. He can leave anytime and come anytime. If you, in case, God forbid, the Mexican cartel call, get him, and they come to you for contribution. Tell them you tell me, and you win. So I'm not giving you nothing. That's good enough, Mr. So. We're not here for kumbaya or that. No, but we're not going to go through all of that kind of thing. We are talking about good things. They say the vice president left. He didn't tell people. Why you gotta tell you to do what? To do what? To come and help him pay, get his plane ticket, Mr. So please find LPR something else to talk about. I'm sorry to say, but this is none of your business.
The paper is back.
This is none of your business. That's the core bell of folks. You are not part of us. You are not within our world. So whatever happened in our own world, stay out of it. Correct?
That's right. When we need your vote, we'll come to you.
Wow. Okay. Great. You will come to me. All right. The voter registration process exercise kick off today in Liberia. ANC is going to court. The Liberal. Oh, these people here. Liberal, please take control. This one here is coming from. Let me pick up this call here. I will get off the screen for a minute. Just let me pick up this call. It's important.
So yeah, thank you, Sissy. I know you know exactly where he was trying to go to. So go ahead and take the lead on that one.
Yeah, I think he was going to talk about the usual kerfuffle. The voter registration period started, and there are some Liberians that are feeling like the Constitution is not being adhered to, which is a problem that we've been discussing on this network. But the issue of the census informing NEC to draw the electoral district, because at the end of the day, we still have to follow the Liberian Constitution that talks about we draw electoral districts provided there's not more than 100 constituencies. I mean, constituencies rather, provided there's not more than 100. So how are you then drawing these lines? Because mind you, because of population shift, some counties might gain constituency seats, and some counties might lose because we can't create more. We are bound to stay within that 100, right? And so once we have that 100, we have to shift things around based on who's losing where and who's gaining where. How does NEC then decide if I am running for a seat in Lofa County, whether or not that seat even exists, or whether Lofa has lost her seat to Sano or Grand Cru, one of those counties that have gained, that whose population has ballooned. And I think that is where the problem is. But what is even making this even more messy and interesting, if I can use that word, is the fact that Abache, the president pro temp, in his very unusual press briefing before they are recessed, talked about the data coming from Legis was provisional, and that Legis have not submitted to them an actual count. So when Legis sends them an actual count, then they would talk about it and discuss and have a vote on it. Well, so then what data are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a provisional data that came from Legis that even the Senate pro temp is saying is provisional? Mind you, in his press statement, he praised that and said it was accurate. So how are you looking at provisional data and calling it accurate? I mean, for some of us who don't stats, it just baffles me, right? You don't have everything, but you say it's accurate. So what yardstick are you using to measure the accuracy of the data? Just like we can't say that the data is flawed because we don't have everything, you can't say the data is accurate either. So I think this is going to be one of those things where we don't know which one should come first, the chicken or the egg, because is ANC going to court to challenge the provisional census report that should have been used by NEC to draw constituencies to determine, how many electoral seats each county is going to have? And if it's provisional, can you even go to court for that? Because I heard Albert Chair saying you can't even go to court because it hasn't even been accepted yet. Well, okay. Well, then if ANC is premature by going to court action, but NEC is using the very provisional data, or by extension, they're refusing to use it. Because if we maintain the status quo as NEC is going and saying all of the seats are where they were in the last elections, then it's kind of really, I don't know, it's like which one came first, the chicken or the egg, is really confusing. And I don't know how the Supreme Court is going to hear this argument and what are they going to use as a way to judge whether the ANC and every other aggrieved Liberian is intending to sue at this time, or whether they're not intending because the data is provisionary. It's weird.
James, what have you to say on this here?
Well, I think it's a sad day in Liberia when it comes to this election issue. I've been going through NEC timeline. Today, the 20th of today, March 20th, the voter registration in Liberia should have started today. And it should have gone through Mike Gibby, Monserrato, Bassa, Cape Mount, and Bone County. But unfortunately, NEC was supposed to be giving its budget today, 50% of it, 25% of its budget. NEC needed $10 million to start with the 3 counties today. Unfortunately, that timetable has been interrupted. The CDC-led government had not made that budget available, according to sources. So, as far as I'm concerned, the timetable has been interrupted already. And to add up to that, like what Panelists just said, that's another set of problems all by itself which have not even been resolved, let alone the voter registration that's supposed to start today. So I see a whole lot of complication in the path of this whole election this year. Because this beginning, it's troublesome. It's something to worry about. Because if we cannot go to the timetable for the voter registration to start today, and NEC is requesting for 10 million. They've been requesting for this money since 1.5 months now. Today, it should have started. It did not. The money is not there. That is the problem.
Thank you, Mr. So, will you switch me back to my position, because you're starting again. You put me on that thing where people can't see my face anymore. Please switch me back. Why will you put me on the column where people cannot see my face? But no, I'm like I said, I'm not here. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're in business. But anyway, let's say James, good point, both of you. But this is what I'm going to take out of this here. I'm not that I'm not concerned, but I think the exercises that are bound to happen over and over, I think it's going to be good for our democracy. 2 weeks ago, the Chief Justice of Liberia pretty much invited all of the political candidates and their political parties to have within that political party a sound Liberian lawyer. And I'm not quoting her correctly. But in that, she said that the court is open with if you want to have issues or there's issues, they must come to the court. The Supreme Court is there and they will listen without fear or favor. So I think the Supreme Court have already opened a door for example, ANC. Look at the lawyer in Madam Yakula. I think they're showing that thank you for inviting, but we're going to utilize that services that you say you're going to provide for us. We want to use it, and I think Sese, what you're saying is quite correct. Quite recently, there's another permanent Liberian, Dr. Chris Nyambwe. I think Chris Nyambwe. He wrote something. Yeah, he wrote something.
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
He wrote something and said that how Southeastern population has gone from this point to that point is beyond me. We like to. Who is this? Good evening, Mr. Josh. The night is not gonna go good. Well, I can't hear you.
Why you can't hear me?
I said good evening.
I said good evening. Welcome back.
That kind of welcome that they're gonna welcome by that real welcome. They are in trouble. But anyway, thank you. But anyway, look, he was questioning the process. And I think the Supreme Court, by now bringing this thing to light, let people challenge the system. And I think going through the court system, for me, is healthy than us going in the street. So I think let's utilize the court system as much, because by doing that, we're also putting Liberia on the map legally to say this is what we can do. And if we have issue with electoral issue, what have you, let's resolve it through the court system. But of course, some of us are going to be here and try to criticize the process as much as possible. But let us also be thankful and be grateful that we have a system that we can go through to challenge our electoral issues if we have one.
Okay, we have the line open. Let's go to our first caller for tonight, Pa George. Good evening. Welcome. Amos Joy, good friend to the Liberal Progressive. Welcome. Let's go to this number here, 832 number 1441. Good evening, caller. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. Go ahead. What's your point?
I'm fine. Mr. So, how you doing? And my name is Ambrose. And hi to the panelists. First of all, I have a couple of things on my chest I want to get off. I think there's a three-strap on the former vice president. First, he went to Ghana secretly to meet with Mr. Kumi, and that one came up, and they started denying. And the last time again, he went to Nigeria and met an armed dealer of someone that associated with armed dealing. They had to try to clean that up. And with the other one again, how you can say you go meet people you don't know, you're not gonna accelerate your former vice president. We can't just meet anybody without knowing what the agenda of the meeting or what the meeting is about. And my other thing I get on my chest, one of your panelists just said the voter registration is like, if I got it right, that it never started. I don't know if you know, knew a couple of people got registered, people are showing their voter registration card online.
Okay. That's the views of our callers. Thank you so much, Ambrose, for always being here to participate. Yeah. All right. So, Pa Joyce, good evening. Welcome. So, the actions of the ANC comments. A few days ago, he was on a sister network, and questions, I believe it was Steve, did ask that question. And he said he was not considering that because he doesn't have enough. He never wanted to rush because he wanted to see they were going to come up with more details. On the basis of that, then he would know exactly. But right now, we're going to be premature, better 3, 4, 5 days. Maybe he have that now. But does he have all of the argument for which he's taken to court? You know, I know, we all waiting to see or to be empty out there by the Census Bureau in terms of to kind of categorize what is what, who is who, and for us to know precisely here. Does he have an argument? And I think Senator Dillon kind of like frown on that. I was questioning. Well, he comments, or ANC, they have their own right to do what they are doing.
So I just wanted to say something quick, and what I've been seeing on a lot of platforms that are, and from people associated with the ANC, is that the argument is kind of centered around Article 80E of the Liberian Constitution. And what that says is immediately following a national census and before the next election, the Election Commission shall reapportion the constituencies in accordance with the new population figures so that every constituency shall have as close to the same population as possible, provided, however, that a constituency must be solely within the same county. So they're looking at this data and asking, okay, if I, Sisi Goya, I'm in Soul Clinic, I'm just using my mom's home, and I go to register in Soul Clinic, what constituency am I registering in? Like, who is going to be my lawmaker that I'm going to be voting for and my representative lawmaker? Now, there are a lot of merits to that. What I can say, however, is the only reason this is an issue is because we truck voters in Liberia. If I live in Soul Clinic and I register in Soul Clinic, then does it really matter what electoral districts I'm placed in? I'm still going to be voting in Soul Clinic. However, if I live in Soul Clinic and somebody not truck me all the way to Doison to go and fight the other representative there that they want me for us to defeat, then it turns out that representative is not even in that district, supposed to be in that district somewhere different, then we have the argument. So I think the only reason why this is a viable argument is because of the voter trucking. When people can take folks from VOA and take them to Clay District to vote. And now we are concerned that will Clay still be district number 1 in Bowman County, or would it be a part of district number 2? Would it be somewhere different? So again, you know, there are a lot of merits to this. But the sooner we stop this trucking of voters, the easier it will be for some of these arguments to not exist. But I think they have a case. To the extent, however, that we can show that the provisionary data is now the data that we're using. But when the president pro tem can say this is provisional and it's not even being used, how do you then go to court and show that you are being harmed by the data that even the Senate is saying is provisional? I think this is the catch-22 that is going to create a kerfuffle for the justices in chambers.
Okay, Kato Amos George, welcome to join the frost. It's better late than never. Amos George.
Yeah, Sisi,
are you one of the defense counsel for the ANC?
No, I'm not defending, but I said it ever since that they should go to court. Because here's the thing here. I think a district will be 10,000 people. And the census,
20,000 constituency.
20,000. So the data, the census is supposed to tell us how many people now in that district. We don't know. Then the election commission, we are doing registration. If there are 40,000 people in that district, it means that another district should be created. That they have exceeded that number. And the election commission, all the people will just vote in that district now. You don't think nothing legally, then you are disfranchising other people because those people are supposed to have representation. Now, the second point is how, if someone is running and that area has not been demarcated, then later on, they go on a voter register, they come back, they say, oh, we have created this district. What will happen to all the resources that person has put in that district? So there is a genuine reason that the ANC is going to court for. Now, the protest is a preliminary or provisional results. So when the original come up, and they say after the censor, it should be it should go out to the legislature, and the president should approve of it. So why, when they're going to give the data to the final data to the legislature, we don't know, everything is time indefinite. So that those things are tied into the election. So is the census bracing that will be no district created? Is that what the election commission is seeing? How are we going to do it? So there's a whole lot that the both agencies will have to explain to the Liberian people that these are the laws we are going by, so therefore what we are doing, we are right. Because you say you got 200,000 plus people in Grand Crew. Now, we want to know what are the numbers of people that are eligible now to vote in that area. We have to know that number from the election commission. And if those people, are they all in one district or two districts or additional districts should be created? We have to know all these things. But we are not, the election commission is not telling us, this is not giving enough figure. So what do we do? We have to go to court. But let me just close on the last note. The former vice president went to Ghana. And people say, yeah, he was a private citizen. Yeah, but no. He now is a standard bearer of a leading political party. So let someone tell me where Obama, when he became the standard bearer of the Democratic Party, I think he traveled to Europe. It was not on a cover. It was announced that he was going to meet with social leader.
Something said that.
Did the same thing. So how can people tell me that the vice president right now he's a private citizen? This man could be president tomorrow. So when he's going to meet people, we have to know business, especially business people. We have to know who he's meeting with. Is he going to Paul Wolokiti Mountain to get money for campaign? We don't know. So how can people tell me that this man business as a private business? No, when he was former VP, he was not running. He could go anywhere and meet with anybody. I won't say anything. But once he had declared himself and has been nominated by his party, there's no more secret around his life. So if he going to meet with in Ghana, and if they come out, they have to tell us. If it is not coming, does it the same thing? They have to tell us. Taiwan Congo does it the same thing. They have to tell us because why? They are not just ordinary people again. They want to lead a country, Liberia. So the meeting with people, we have to know who they are meeting.
So when was the last time Cummins listed who all you are meeting when you come to America?
See, this is
America. He comes to America.
He said come to America. Doesn't say who you're meeting with. Those are two different things.
Well, someone said that if anybody
hold on, there was a picture of him in a robe, like he preaching. Who knew you're gonna be over there? He told us. Where was they at?
It was on Facebook. It was not.
But besides that,
after he appeared,
let me you talk. It was announced that coming will come to Atlanta for fundraiser. It was announced. It was on Facebook. The flyer there, the location, the venue, everything was there. So it was not secret.
But let me ask you this, Mr. George: is there any constitutional provision that said a standard bearer of a party must, whenever he traveled, that his itinerary should be made public? I think you're not part of Mr. George. Mr. George, Lebron asking you a question. You're not part of the Unity Party. Stay out of the Unity Party business. If Unity Party partisans want to know what their leader is going, they will ask questions. You can't come on here and say you need to know. Are they coming to you for any kind of help?
Hold on.
Stay out of their business.
That's why you're in Liberia. You could not say anything. All the time you're sitting in class, you went to Liberia, you could not say a word. You are there, you said, "Oh, are you doing your work?"
So, you know, here is where, Mr. So, here is where I wanted Mr. George to finish so I could ask him a question. Okay, he's saying that they need to know who they So say Kumis is coming to America for a fundraiser. Does that tell us who is going to meet with before the fundraiser, after the fundraiser? Why don't you tell us those?
No, but Mr. To add to your point,
the flyer is for the program and not for before the program, after the program. Kumis got a live before and after. The flyer tell us that?
Yeah, but you have the right to ask.
Mr. George.
Mr. George. Right to question Joe Boakai, we met.
Mr. George.
That's okay.
Mr. George.
Right.
Mr. George.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with your dissympathy with the vice president. But here is my question. Mm-hmm. These people leave our country, our brothers who are standard bearer leave our country and go abroad. And we are arguing that they should be material of the government to be accountable. Good. Whatsoever they raise there, they don't tell us. It become personal. So what I'm seeing here, I'm coming now. What I'm seeing here is that in the United States, there's something called primary. At that time, you are just a flag bearer. You just an aspirant. When you at the end of the primary, you become officially a candidate for the White House. The White House then pay attention to you and give you protected services because now you are president in waiting. Do we have that provision in Liberia?
No.
So let me ask a question here. You see, your politicians, you people are really, really killing us. One way you lay on your side, another day you lay on your belly. So let me ask the questions. All these satisfied presidential candidates, should the government of Liberia provide security for them? Now, as their candidate, standard bearer for their various party, should the government of Liberia provide security for them, police, SSS, and all of that they used to be?
Mr. So, what I can say, let me just briefly, quickly say this here to your question. The fact that the government of the Republic of Liberia is not providing a dime to any of the candidates, the people of the Republic of Liberia, it's not, Mr. So, the liberal is talking. The people of the Republic of Liberia cannot come out, Mr. George specifically, cannot come out to say, I need to know where these people are going. You're not paying for their bills. You're not even paying the air ticket. You can ask whatever you want to ask because you have the freedom to ask. But we also, in these different political parties, have the right to deny giving you any kinds of substantial answer that will satisfy your curiosity. So I think let's move on. Dr. Bakai, president in waiting, has no responsibility whatsoever to you and the LPR group to let them know whatever they're doing. So please, let's move on.
Hold on 1 second. Quarto, let me bring Quarto in here. Quarto, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening to you all. By George, I'm talking. Please, Mr. George.
The ANC. Say,
yeah.
Before you come in, that is
that is suit there. By the way, I love that suit. It is cultural. It was a cultural suit. I really love it. But the people just blew it out of proportion. But I love it. It's a nice suit. It is a nice suit.
No, I'm not here. I'm not here merely for you guys. I'm here for
I come here. Pa George, is it true the guy he wore that suit?
You see that pseudonym?
The suit was something. It was not exactly like that. People just
No, it's
did
not.
Photoshop. He didn't wear. It was not something like that. It was something different he wore. He just
Like
Photoshop
what?
and did it.
So
Something like
are we saying this a camera trick?
Yeah.
So I can do a Photoshop. There are so many things people can do here. Okay. I don't really pay
It
attention to
wasn't.
this
It
kind of
wasn't
stuff here,
like
but
it
yeah,
was
Koto,
something
go ahead.
not-
On a serious note, we were talking about your candidate, the guy that will support. I'm saying, you know, at this point in time, they all will call for transparency, accountability. We're keeping eyes on them. The liberals say it's not my business. I should take my mouth from inside. You agree with him?
Thank you, Mr. So. Good evening to you all. And I want to say welcome to the Liberals.
Thank you.
Liberal, I'm glad to see you back. And I came purposely with a late time to just welcome you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you for going back to our mama land and having the time that you have to spend there. And you know, when I was listening to you, I jealous you because right now I really want to go. I'm missing my home, and you know, the time, and I just want to go there. Maybe any moment I can disappear and go there. So I want to welcome you, Mr. Soso. And
Thank you.
Mr. Soso, sorry. And I want to say hi to our Liberian people. I'm glad to be here to discuss the Liberian issue. Okay, Mr. So. What is about Mike Kennedy you're talking about?
Oh, Lord.
Mike Kennedy, that's Mike Kennedy. And the thing about it is nothing clandestine happening about his visit. He's not owing anybody explanation. Is it a unity party? Partisan that asking why you left us, you know, why informing us? Was there any commitment that he broke that he needed to be questioned or he questionable about? I said no. Right now, it is our responsibility to meet with who we want to meet with, to build Liberia. We are here to build Liberia. We're not here to break Liberia. We're here to build. And we will talk to anybody we can talk to. If you are a criminal, we knock you off. We put you by the wayside. If you are good, we bring you in. That's what we are doing now. So, Mr. George, you went your 75,000, your collector, it went in vain. That today we can't even get any good result of the 75,000.
This is with the police.
Okay, the police. They can't even
the police.
investigation. Nowhere, internal investigation. But we're not quarrying. We know what our candidate is seeking after. It is out there at our acquaintance that he's going out there, and that's his responsibility. Do you ask your pa or ma where you went to go look for to feed me? Your responsibility is when Papa come in, Papa bring a plastic bag. When Mama come in, Mama bring her plastic bag, and you have few food to eat. If you came with your empty hand or they didn't come with good result and are hungry, then Papa take trouble. Mama take trouble. But as far as we are concerned, there is no problem arising from his visit to cause Liberia's problems. Did anybody complain to you that he visited the wrong country? Or he met criminal that they reported that this person is criminal and he invaded or he went on a well to their country? No. We are visiting, we are trying to get to anything that can help to build Liberia, not to destroy Liberia.
We inside. Okay.
No, inside. We are big time inside. So we're working towards building Liberia.
I think you're the liberal pushing the same line, but then you're talking about transparency.
Hold on one second. Let's take one call
somebody
here.
Tell you that he went and ate their money and he brought their money or stole from them. Didn't you talk about it? Then we
really, this is
Mipa, mahina in the one. And I get
coming after me because I assisted you.
Hold on 1 second, guys. We got a call on the line. Good evening.
Did he steal somebody money? Or did he meet with a criminal?
Guys, 1 second, please. We got a caller.
To which he came from complain? No.
Okay.
So we're trying to get a fund to build our country. Don't worry. We'll do our best to take care of it.
Elvis, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. So, and hello to your panelists.
Yeah, let's hear
thank
from
you. Thank you for taking my call. Quickly, I want to say I'm very glad to hear Alexander Cummings going to court. You know, I would have loved to see a collaboration between the political parties. You know, to really talk about the census and also these biometric voting, because I think even irregardless of whether the government intend to cheat or not, I think there are going to be massive problems with that whole biometric voting, and I think maybe they should save it for next election. So perhaps these political parties should go to court and try to contest against using biometrics. And then when it comes to JMB, I mean, there's so much to say in it, but I'll ask a few questions because maybe I'm ignorant on this part of it. He's a private citizen as it is now. Does he have any right to negotiate with quote unquote investors? Are they coming to invest in private capacities, or is he negotiating with them, in terms of maybe somebody's the government is negotiating with some people to come bring investment in the country, because I think that's not his place. If so, and where was he during the last 5 years? Was he doing any negotiation for investors to come in the country, or just now when he thinks he's getting close to maybe being in political office? So I want to get the separation between what is his right, what gave him the right to go negotiate, quote unquote, for investors.
Because why the investor didn't even go to Liberia? They play here, wants to be president.
Right. People will say, oh, that private citizen, you got a right to bring investor in. But in the same token, they say, well, if he become president, these are investors that will come invest in the country. So either way, why he didn't bring the investor when he left office? Why now? And secondly, do he have the right to even negotiate on behalf of the country if he's negotiating on behalf of the country? I don't know that.
Elvis, what a good question. But if you have people like the liberal who is involved, who is unbalanced, who is unstable, not just only the vice president, Ellis Cummings, Councilor Tiawan Gonglo, Mandela Cooper, all of these people that are vying for the higher office of the land. If anything here tomorrow, God forbid, whether in or outside Liberia, will be the first to frown on government, considering all that is happening here, whether we like it or not. People will have their own chunk to talk about, other people will have their chunk. But now, they say they are private citizens. Let's take this call.
Yeah. Mr. So before I go quickly, I want to ask about George. Don't he think that Alice Cummings still being on boards of company, being a part of a board of directors, does he think that's a conflict of interest while he's running for office of Liberia? I want to get
at to throw bomb here the evening.
I just want to ask the question.
Okay. I mean,
all right.
If the law requires that, he does it. But morally, I think if he become president, he should relinquish the position. If he become president, he should relinquish it.
If.
And I want to. I thank you for that question. Let the Liberal and Madam Kobo tell me. Tell us what
the Liberal. You want to respond to that question? Any of you?
Well, let me just say this here very quickly. The vice president, if he had gone out to negotiate investment opportunity for the Republic of Liberia, God bless him. That means your current leadership is inept, and so the president is not, the vice president is not going to negotiate with investor on behalf of the government. He's a private citizen. I can leave from here and say I want somebody to invest. Now, if the investor decide to come to Liberia and try to circumvent the governmental procedures, then you can say something. But as long as he's out there talking about people to say, we want you to invest, and the people are saying, well, we will invest in you because we trust you and we believe in you. Please, Liberian people, elect this man, and then we will bring our thousands and millions of dollars to invest in the country and make sure people are successful. Then, that's what the vice president. Please, let's praise the vice president. Let us don't question the motives. Let's praise him. He is doing a wonderful, wonderful job, and he's going to be the stabilizer of the Republic of Liberia once he becomes president.
Okay, we are almost getting to the closing time. Let's Koto I voice, then I'm going to bring you guys in. Koto, do you want to respond to Eva's question?
Yeah, I want to respond to what he said. What was the vice president contribution towards bringing investment into the country? And I want to say,
a position.
He was vice president, and he was assisting the president. And even the last, I just want to talk about the last and most recent one. What do you want to say? The last and most recent one, what the Ebola fund that came to Liberia, who went to negotiate on behalf of the Republic of Liberia to bring that fund in. It was the vice president. And besides that, the running of the government from year 1 to year 12, he was assisting the president in negotiation, in going to other countries and negotiating on behalf of the country. So this is a person who has been working, and he has friends out there, and he's still in a position of contacting other people, whoever business person that he wants to contact, to bring the good back to Liberia. And that's why some of us supporting him. He's not there going to watch football game. He's not there going to go merry-make. He's there in the dark making negotiation. Whoever he meets with, if it is good for Liberia, he will bring them to Liberia.
Achimo Frederick, bringing investors is not the sole responsibility of the government. Man, the defense.
Exactly. I agree with Frederick. They would sit there, everything. If I even have my last penny, the next thing I'm thinking about to go and invest in Liberia.
Okay, let's go to the line, and then I'm going to come to you guys before we wrap up your callers. Go ahead. What's your question or concern?
Yeah, Mr. Sue, I tend to, sometimes I don't like Helen. I really don't like Helen. And I'm being honest here. I don't like her. Nothing about Helen I like. But for her to, I still remember when she said, the only way Joseph Boyka will become president in this country, she said, hey, Joseph Boyka become president in the country, y'all must change me to man. Only when I become a
where did Ellen say that?
Yeah. So sometimes when I lay down, I can be thinking, I say, well, why the old man will make such a strong statement against our former vice president? I think because of, Joseph Boyka's decision making.
What was that
for me,
statement?
I'm a scary man.
Christopher.
I get scared when I hear names like
Christopher.
Prophet Key supporting Boyka.
Christopher.
Yeah. I'm still.
Yeah, no, you said something. Was that
is that Wulati? Is that Christopher Wulati?
Of course.
Yeah, that Wulati, yeah.
Political pundit followers, they all heard it. She repeated herself many times. If Joseph Boyka become president of Liberia, she will tend to man, unless she's a man. That the only way. That statement is strong. It's strong. Somebody that went.
Which radio station was that?
That's CDC radio station.
I mean, you guys are political followers. The record, the tapes are there.
Which record?
We can find it and send it to you.
Bring it down.
A lot of you guys know, y'all heard it. The old man said it over and over.
Bring in the radio station.
My fear here is that if people are accusing this government of bad embry, then you see somebody like Prophet Key advocating, he's the mouthpiece of Joseph Boyka. You see Henry Costa is the man who calls women, calls our mom, calls our sister, then stop babbling about women. He saw women. I get scared. I get terrified when I see the guys around the vice president, and I'm scared. When I see look, Mr. Sue, look, what if somebody get Joseph Boyka $50 million in Ghana? All right, to come invest in Liberia. That his business.
Okay, let's go. We already out of time here. We'll try
the man who said he broke, he didn't get money in the bank, he be crediting to eat from. he can credit from bank to eat. Anyway, Mr. Su, thank you for the opportunity. You know, I hope Joseph Boyka will credit enough money from the bank so he can be able to pay the road from Morocco to Foya.
Thank you so much. There are a few videos here. I just want to shoot them, play, Baba, and then you guys can do your wrap up for the event. That has to do with the debate, Capitol Hill too. That was very much interesting. They were just a random selection. Let's listen to them, and then we can have a little talking point, closing remark before we go.
Please call Sando and Magidi to order. Thank you. The same way booing is a democratic expression of displeasure. That's the same way cheering is a democratic expression of approval. Why we always want only the approval? Especially when the people who booing at us are displeased or expressing displeasure over what they believe we're not doing right as public officials. Problem, leadership is lacking. How many times some of us want to turn the floor upside down? You don't say approach a chair, you're presiding. Have any of us disrespected you that chair before? Even sometimes in our anger, righteous anger or whatever anger, when we approach our presiding chair, even if we still want to continue what we wanted to say, we tame it down. You exercise leadership over the Senate, and I'm not doing it to flatter you.
I was a student at the University of Liberia. I got my bachelor's degree from there. I got my law degree from there. And if you go back to history, students' disagreement with the government has been intellectual, not violence. But violence has now become a pattern at the university. There's a group of people there who call themselves militants. They wear khaki, red cap, whatever that is.
Red barrel. Red barrel.
Colleagues, let's look at this matter objectively. It's not about Carol Gray. Carol Gray was just yesterday. Like I said, this has become a pattern. Say the chair wants to visit his alma mater. He's a government official. Even an ordinary citizen who has a constitutional right to go to everywhere of this country, except on some private property. We will be a no-go zone. Say, private property, no trespass. You wouldn't go there by invitation. But on a public property, as the University of Liberia, Senator Chair wants to go there, and somebody tells Senator Chair, don't come here.
President said most of the team on the paper, they want to add on it. President, the biggest burden of keeping the peace in this country is on 105 of us. 105. Out of almost 5 million people in this country, we are only 105 people that are privileged to lead them. And not because we are better than them, it's because we've been given a space. There are people out there that are more qualified than all of us in this room. But we were given a space to be here. Anyone you see in government was brought in government by 105 of us. Whether you are a minister, whether you are a staffer in the legislature, whether it's the secretariat here, 105 are approved everyone on the government payroll. They got to come through us. And that's why when somebody said, to whom much is given, much is expected. That's where it comes from. in government account, whether by taxes or whatever. I mean, when they all get right car for that money, they all put that right, so the thing is all over here. When us, colleagues, go ahead. We are treated differently because the standard is here. Brother, when you go in home now, people are landing in the street. You're not better than them, but at the standard, they put you up there so they look up to you. So you must think up there. You can't think down again when you're up there. To think down, then you're not supposed to be leader. You're supposed to resign and go back down there.
I think there's a tense conversation being ongoing as a result of this UL voting here. But your guy came out today, Sissy. Let's watch it.
No, my guy there.
Let me see. Where
I'm begging you.
Let me see where the audio. What happened to the audio? Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Oh Lord. Okay. I can't get the audio here now. All right. If I say guy, you say he was barricaded, but he came out today to do his registration or create awareness. But back to the point there for you guys to make your closing argument. I believe there was an intense conversation that went on in chambers, everybody giving their views, their opinions, and all of that. Who wants to go first with whatever point that you wanted to make before we wrap up?
Those three gentlemen I spoke, Down Dillon and Jeremiah Cohn, I think they said something logical. The man, the second person, I don't think he went to that University of Liberia.
Why?
Because for him to say, he knows the history of that university to say, student never been like that before, then he doesn't know the University of Liberia.
That's not what he said, though.
He said that's not
a new thing.
He said intellectually, the students. But it all been, is that university, the way he described, is that a right description? Then what was the trouble with Tower and the students? What was the trouble with Doe and the students? Charles Taylor, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That engagement, it has always been there. So he couldn't come out to say those days that nothing did not happen like that, because that's what he was implying. It was not so. He was saying the students.
But fair to mention, he was specific. The wearings of bearers, they are malicious, calling themselves militant. That's not how Wotapia Christian Harvard used to call themselves. They were never calling themselves militant and all of that dressing in that.
So then you are not your money there. That militant has always been there from
the militant convert.
They have always called themselves the militant, militant. That's and that khaki. They have worn that khaki from Amos then time. From then. At that university.
That's just yesterday business.
That he's not familiar with the university. He doesn't know the history of the student politics on that campus. That militant, bro, it has always been soup. So what he's seeing there, I'm saying he's not being honest. He's not being honest. What Dylan said, yes. Booing is part of free speech. Cheering is part of free speech. What Jeremiah Cohn said there, he was right. When the 105 men can make decisions on our behalf, who makes law that go on us? They are privileged to ride car that other person cannot ride. They have security that other person cannot have security. They are paid by the taxpayer dime. So there's a higher standard to hold them to. And they should bear that in mind. So let me just close on the note. I'm going back again to these people. Labor went. Samson Blogu told you got nobody care your money work for, nobody care for how you use it. Nobody. You are in your car the other day, you are complaining. I said go to toll town. You told me, say no, you can't go to toll town. Now I said, but what are you complaining for? You say you know where to go. I said go to toll town. You said no, you can't go there. Your own home. You say no, you're not going there. I said get by the whiskey. He said no, I can't drink. Did I quarrel with you? No. Because what? You were Samson Toy, you're an ordinary man. But when the vice president, when they say Samson Toy is the standard bearer of the United Party, the standard bearer of the United Party, then of course, you are now become accountable to every Liberian because now you are the president in waiting. So if you have a meeting and people ask, you are on a moral obligation to tell the Liberian people who you met with. If Kwame did the same thing, I would say, I would say it. So let me tell you people that support Joseph Walker now, he's now no more an ordinary person. He's the standard bearer of a leading political party who wants to be president tomorrow or the after tomorrow. So when he take one step, we got to watch that step. When you are just former VP, I don't care who he met with. But now the title has changed. So there's a standard. It may not be legal, but morally, we have to hold them. Because it's the same thing that we're suffering from.
Okay.
We are then we do a meeting with, they build horses, then we start quarreling. Oh, where you got the money from? Oh, this and that. We cannot let this pass by again by us. So anybody who have become a standard bearer of a party, morally, you are obligated to answer to the Liberian people. If you have a meeting and they ask you, you have to tell us. If you met business people, in what capacity are you meeting your people? What obligation are you making to them? How are you making that obligation? Is it standard bearer of the United Party or standard bearer of Liberia? And what are you committing? Is it a personal thing that you're committing, or you are committing the country?
All right. Let's keep it straight to the point. Thank you so much. Koto?
Thank you, Mr. So.
Oh, that they had there?
The man say he commissioner now. Go ahead before we go. Well, we are already out of time.
I want to say thank you again. I'm here to discuss what I really admire what Senator Coons said. And, people take it for a joke. I don't know, for some of them who have by chance given no positions. And I don't know how they actually handle the position or how they take the position on which they have. That is one of the highest positions one can ever have in a government. And I see like somebody gambling with the pressure, the jury you have. That's what I see with many of them. And if we go down to what Senator Kun said, it's like you in the highest position, then you're coming down, coming to the least man. You have cow meat to eat. You come and take the man little boni he has to eat. It's what happening in there. And I don't know whether they're doing it unknowingly or they just pretend to do it, but it hurts because these people have trusted them and put them in higher positions. If the people trust you, they think not that they don't have, the means of being there, but it's like, okay, let me put my trust, let me put my life. It's like trusting their life with you. And I see that they are not taking it how the people have trusted them to give the position to them. But I just want to say, there are many of them who have left that position, and today we know the conditions they are in. It's just 6 years or 9 years. Those years will be over. And think of when you should have left that position, what becomes of you? Your obligation. What comes after you? And for me, that's my advice to them. You're not going to stay there for the rest of your life. You are of moral obligation to the people. So I think they should think better and listen to a sound man. Like for me, he sound very sound. Mr. Kuhn.
Thank you so
I will be friends with a colleague.
You will do the closing because I will be making a short, brief announcement. I hope you guys still stay on. Let me go to my buddy here from the Ocean State. As Libra says, I brought an Ocean State man to go against him. Why would we go against you? Octavius Marley Jones. Let me do what it's doing, we'll reverse it.
I hope the liberal will disabuse his mind that we've come on its platform to consolidate a solidarity team against his objective.
That's right.
Now to move into some real business. The liberal brought something very important that I want to get back to, the issue of the transportation in Liberia. I agree with the liberal 100%, but here is the issue. Monrovia is completely decongested. And you realize that since the 1980s, so many people troop from around the country and get congested into Monrovia. So according to sources, there are more than 1 million people living in Monrovia right now. So the type of transportation we have right now, we've been having the transportation problem long ago, not now, but it's just intensifying right now. And it's intensifying because it seems to be this is a post-war transport pattern. But the question now is, are we contending with it? The answer is no. Is the government doing something about it? That is the question that we need to be asking. Because sometimes I feel as a government, we go into the private transport system and see how the masses are feeling. How are they going home? What happened? If from those things you develop a little clue and pass it even over to your public work ministry. Say, look, we need to open road here and there, here and there, here and there, here and there. But it seems to be we are contended with that situation as well as the government is contended with it. I hate to jump into that conclusion, but this is my mindset about that. Back to the clip the moderator just played. I noticed that it is very regrettable to see what's happening in Parliament. It's all because the yardstick or the criteria that is bringing some of our brothers and sisters into Parliament constitutionally is too weak. Very, 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 very feeble. So at the end of the day, so many people want to rush into Parliament for different reasons. When our parliamentarian said any parliament have the right to go on campus, I agree with him because the university itself has not put in place mechanism to streamline who go on the university, what you're supposed to do there, what are the occasion. Nothing like that is happening. So I expect that parliament to say, look, it's not right for anybody to just go on the university, just have a lunch there and just do anything there. But we'll have to work with the university to come up with a policy. Even we, the lawmaker, we should not be above the law. I yield.
Thank you so much. I want to bring in Libra, but the reason I say I wanted you guys to be on, the Libra are going to be making a closing argument, but in the past, before Amos Joy, he knows that he's a host of his own program. And I think we have to share this responsibility to also lessen our own body and be able to do other things. In the coming shortest distance, not too far, the Liberal will be continuing his program, Conversations with Something Tall. Meaning there's going to be proportion. We will still work together as a team. But he tries to take a different route now. He will be joining us here and there. He's an engineer. Perhaps he want to be putting more time on that. I just want to let you guys know sometime we're going to be making the days. I'm going to throw a message out there in the chat. I just don't want to see it like a surprise. But I think more or less he tried to do it so that he would throw his own red meat, which is okay. That's the Liberal. So Conversation with Something to returns shortly right here on LPR-TV. The Liberal.
So, excuse me, Mr. Moderator, for a little clarification. So, are you saying the Liberal is going independent now, or the collaboration stay, or what is the demarcation?
It's not an independent. We are still one group. We had these days.
Oh, okay.
That
It's
a lot
just
of
scaling
people.
back a little bit, scaling back.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you know,
Okay. No,
sometimes
Thank you
we'll
for your clarification.
time and yeah, let his do his own thing, and you can jump that and tell you say that thing you're talking to him, man. I agree with you. The liberal.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. So. I think thank you for that announcement. I also am pleased to hear that as well. Before we started a joint appearance here, we all had you have Freedom Watch. I had a conversation with Samson too, and we were doing it day in, day out, even before we went on to the TV spot of it. When we had the just internet radio, and that's how we were doing it. And one of the reasons why I thought that I go back into that is election is coming, of course, but I want to take on the role, not so much of the politics of things in Liberia, as opposed to the infrastructure part of Liberia that is concerning to many Liberians. As an engineer, I want to have my own contribution here. Not so much of wanting to have my show. I enjoy doing what I'm doing with you guys a lot. But I think going back to the conversation with Samson to will allow me or give me the opportunity to expand on my view as far as the infrastructure is concerned in the country, which is not going well. Not that if we talk about it would make people to listen and do whatever it is, but we want our brothers and sisters to know exactly what it is that things are supposed to do in the country. And so going back to conversation with Samson to, I thought that we try to go back into that route, and of course, every one of you will participate in it from time to time. In fact, Mr. Josh is quite familiar with that procedure, and so once again, I will be calling on his expertise to give us help as we go from point to point. But I'm not leaving. The Liberal is not leaving. This is our own platform. Liberian Public Radio is all of us, our platform, and we're all connected. I guess that we need to have, and I think Mr. So correctly stated, we need to have many the voice views and any of you. And I believe Mr. So will expand on that later on. But any of you, if you have a specific topic that you want to have a discussion on, you're also welcome with it. Because to just have one person, sometimes we all here have other, besides the platform, we all have other responsibilities in our own private lives and what have you. So I thought that I try to go back into that and carry on with a conversation with Samson too. But I will pretty much be focusing on the infrastructure part of the Republic of Liberia. And that will be my intent. And I was hoping that Cesar would be here because I will also tap into his expertise and to join me from time to time and have that conversation.
Okay, with that said, to our many viewers, listener, follower, we want to thank you so much, as usual, for being here with us. Your tweets, your comments, so helpful. To your agreement, disagreement is part of the conversation. We want to thank you so much. Who?
Yes, I will. I didn't meet the mayor, but I do have a clip, which I will be playing it, where Mayor Kochi people are truly working in Liberia, Mr. George, to be honest with you, because I'm one of those who've been on here saying Mayor Kochi is not doing anything. He doesn't do work. But I was surprised to see his people as I travel from one section. In fact, the last clip that I have was done across the bridge, right underneath Beaumont Bridge. So these people are truly working with the trucks, moving the trash. And I tell people need to know that, because I'm one of those, like I said, one of those on this platform who always say Mayor Kochi is not doing anything. But to be honest with you, what I saw was very surprising to me, because I went across the bridge one morning, and then I saw very early in the morning, I saw the trucks lining up, picking up trash. And I thought to myself, what they have on there, I think MCC. And then I said, are you guys working for Mayor Kochi? And the guy said, yes. So I decided to do a quick interview. And the interview went real well. And but from what I saw, all indications that the mayor is doing work in Monrovia, cleaning our city. I want to believe that.
Okay, well, we want to thank you so much, and we will continue. And conversation with Samson too has been part of this program from day one since we started this year. So he's not going anywhere. Nobody else can hold him beside us here on this LPR. Nobody can hold him. Trust me. I was sent him to give me there. He was just spend half hour.
I was on 12-year-old now.
And I'm going to Liberia. Wait.
Joyce, please. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We will be back here tomorrow. Is why Tuesday. When are you starting your program, Deliverer?
Well, the schedule that I have so far, pending approval of the management, will be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then of course, like I said, depend on the once
the Freedom Watch tool will or the Sunday program will return.
Right. Once the management approve that, then we will have to have a sub meeting with the panelists and all of the LPR family, and to express this more, and then we're gonna go continue with it.
Those gone, that commissioner gone. I only want you, bro.
Mr. So, you're talking about total commissioner right now. There's nothing else to stop this beat. And this is on a very serious note, Mr. So I think you know this. Ever since growing up, I really wanted to wear this hat. And that's why when I got to Total, I was able to get this hat from my brother here and took it. Because if you wear this, you become commissioner. Because that's what the commissioner those days used to wear. So when you wear it, people think you're commissioner.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, so we want to thank you so much. We are also keeping track of the Stanton Waterspoon case. The case is on the 10th.
Mr. So, if you don't mind, let me say one thing here very quickly. Quite recently, and this is a public forum anyhow, so sometimes you see these things and you want to make comment. I saw a posting quite recently. A group of former, I will call them former Spoon Network employees or whatever they want to, but they have themselves as they're calling themselves a closing argument or something. I thought that was to have Stinson's to have issue with him in a court, and all these people are trying to abandon ship at this time. I thought it was for me. I don't know the circumstances. I don't know the circumstances, but I will run my mouth anyway. It's ridiculous and unacceptable. He's our brother, and if he's in trouble, we should all stand and support him and pray for him if he's in trouble, not to abandon ship and then you come and try to style yourself with another name of something. If you have that kind of fortitude, you go back to Spoon Network. This was Spoon Network that make you famous. You go back to Spoon Network and continue to work at Spoon Network. Instead, you're going to go somewhere else after Spoon has made you famous. I thought that was unacceptable. As a liberal, I cannot sit by to let these kinds of things happen. And these are young people that, by the way, that will eventually go to Liberia and try to lead our country with that kinds of behavior. Then I know we're in trouble.
Well, the liberal view is the liberal view. We're waiting to see what's going to be the closing argument. Probably I'm interested in knowing the beginning argument and then see what the closing argument going to be like. But it is why it is. It is why it is. So, but we are keeping close eyes, and it's on the 10th, and we are monitoring it. But we are getting a lot of other information, almost similar to what is happening. One of the folks, Napoleon, we have been told to talk to a lot of people, along with other people are not heavily testifying against Mr. Waterspoon. In fact, in the area where I work, this guy told he owns 2 community radio stations within the Brampton. I'm calling those places names so that you know. Brampton is area in Massachusetts. Been working there for the past how many years? Since 2007. I was shocked, and I just got to know that 2-3 days to 1 or 2 members. The gentleman is a Haitian. He does have on online network to huge ones in Haiti as well. We have been told he and many others, 25 plus, they are collaborating, which is a huge factor. But we'll wait and see as this news become available. So we got to keep track of it, and I see what becomes. And I think it's time to put a judiciary system to test as well. Well, guys, thank you so much to our many viewers, listeners. Thank you so much for being part of this program. Sometimes we talk things that doesn't pivot in your direction. We'll try to say it the best way we can, what we know. We don't just break the news here because we want to entertain. The entertainment, the drama is too much. I think it's time to discuss about the country. Guys, thank you so much and have a pleasant
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Mr. So.
Yeah.
Le parrain permanent.
And by the way, for most of you, if you have a business you want to advertise as well, let us know. That's part of the way of you giving back to LPR. We just do not want to ask you for money. We will be asking at the appropriate time. But if you have a business, if you have an event, you need a coverage, whether it's in the US, it's in Liberia, whatever you are, as long as you have access to internet, let us know. We have the ability to make it happen. We'll all do everything possible we can to make it happen the best way we can. If this is the first time watching us, we say thank you so much. We do appreciate you stopping by. If something did not capture your imagination, that's the first. And we are aware first impression counts a lot. But give us a second chance in our talking point. Don't be too much a person who want to hear all of the best, all of the good. Nothing like to criticize or to look at other faults of your candidate. We take a holistic approach to national conversation for the good of the country, because we, even who sit here as facilitator, we must be held accountable. Things that we say, things that we do. Because whatever we say here, it does have an impact. It could influence decision making. And so we should not overlook that. We shouldn't downplay that. It is huge. It is significant. I will not come here and sit here for 2-3 hours. I can go and do overtime and get something huge. But all of us, in a unique way, we can give back to the country. But it must be done in an honest fashion. And we are also aware the proliferation, the commentators, the propagandists, also for these people here, they have their part. So it is good to listen, to go around to listen, and you can make you can be a decider for yourself. Are they just talking it for the people? It's all about political correctness. And you see it here. When you talk about one candidate, people come and build a wall of Jericho, give all of a good defensive, good argument, and which is logical. So it's all about political correctness. We are quick to note of other people's fault, but when it comes to us, we reconstruct the crime scene and make it work. And that's the beauty of this network. The various view is always here. You who talking about election. Do you have money to participate in election? Subscribe to us. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You will get us live. And also our official website, www.liberiapublicradio.com. We don't just talk it, we also transcribe, and where you can go and read. Thank you so much to all our viewers, listeners, followers. Your commitment to this network cannot be overemphasized. We need to discuss these issues from bottom to top. And when it comes to the country, let us not be too sentimental. Let us not incite our emotions into it. We are talking about Liberia, not you as an individual, not either me. That is above us, far above us. So when we're talking about Liberia, it must be open, it must be holistic, it must be genuine, it must be authentic, so that we can have a better Liberia. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you tomorrow and subsequent days. If you have your business in Liberia here and you want to advertise, let us know. We can work it up. You have a convention, you have a birthday,
let us know there is a way we can find that way to showcase you as well. And that's what we do here. We support any initiated by any good librarian for the good of our country. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Le parrain permanent, Herniantier, son manoir de Wayman. Mon papa, mon sekela rock. De way de blue and my blue, de Wayman. Sabrina, where planning and not moment in Nia. General Jamba, a Seuriolo. Mon tata, tata, one boy, the Wayman, make our bang one blah. And he said, the block, merci beaucoup. Encore la magie. Depuis à des témoins. Aïe, depuis à des témoins. C'est un j'ai été plié de ça, mais on est plein plein de côté. Et pas pour faire quoi de plus pour ne pas avoir ça. Et dans le petit, il y a bon yawa du propre.
And quickly here, before I go, this guy is contesting for district number 3, the current Honorable Samuel Baba Joa. District number 3 for Bon County, Republic of Liberia. I will be playing host to him right here Thursday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which I believe going to be what, 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock in Liberia. Samuel Babajua will be my guest. He's going to be joining me from the West African state of the Republic of Liberia, seeking a representative position to District number 3 in Bon County. He's going to be my guest here early Thursday morning. And Wednesday morning, there's going to be a book launch in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. 1 p.m. That is local time in Liberia, which is going to be what? 8 o'clock here, I believe, 8 or 9 o'clock. You just do the calculations, 4 hours now. The book entitled Liberty Hijack. Liberty Hijack is written by legendary and award journalist winners, Kai Jarowle. Ace is the one that I'm going to be having. This book will be launched officially in Liberia. We are getting a lot of interesting information. Hopefully, this book, we do have it. It's available on Amazon. Just type in Liberty Hijack, the history of law and the loss of liberty that divides Liberia. Type this, you go to Amazon. When you type in this name, you're going to see that Liberty Hijack, written by Kai Jarowle, is an award journalist winner. He's going to be launching this book, and we are hearing probably going to be used. This book is loaded with information that you need to know. The 1955 elections in Liberia, the birth of this name called political leader, how these people become political leaders, how the origins of this political leader title that came into place. If you read this book, you're going to get an in-depth of it. A lot of well scholarly material inside this book yet. Get one. It's available on Amazon. I believe $20 is nothing. If you are within the New England belt, let me know. You can get one. I'm still going through it and I'm still reading it. It's loaded with information. Keep yourself updated about your country. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Mon papa, bon firme, merci beaucoup. Et bien, voyez, et la personne se voit. Le très ancien Yves Canet, à Seigneur-Okaï, le grand frère Oula Michael, allons seulement. Et voyez, et la somme, non, et voyez, classez maintenant, et voyez, doit s'en ma boîte, et voyez, pas non, tiens, ma note, et voyez, la one dit maintenant à ta voyez, j'étais Florent, voyez des son TFP, n'a qu'à faire passer un de ready, on est chichi, mon yahweh, on m'en a tapé et j'applaudis, pour j'applaudis mon pédio. Quand y'a John Blair, son enfant ready, son enfant messiah, et je y papa. Mon yahweh, que ouais, t'as mon époix pour force à elle. Wait, yeah, wait. You the no place so yeah. Casonzia Capavo the way. Bonia Salva, oh the way. What was I? Oh the way. You want to find the way. The word the way, the 40 the way. Where they way you. Mon frère Armel, depuis très longtemps. Pour le way where the boy mamadi. There was a way there must have been a gitty. For the way where the boy mamana. There was a way there that you want mamana. I just want to